Hello again, folks. Rob Franek, Editor-in-Chief here at the Princeton Review, and we're continuing on our journey to help you get into your dream college. Welcome back to College Admission 101. Let's jump right in. In the last video, we talked about why it's so crucial to demonstrate your interest to prospective colleges. Now, we're going to let you in on the worst kept secret in college admission, the single factor that's the most important when colleges decide whether your application makes it into the coveted yes pile. If you think like a college, you know that they want to identify students who will not only attend their schools, but also thrive. Demonstrated interest is an important way to show that you are one of those coveted applicants. But the absolutely top indicator of how well you'll do in college, can you guess it? You know this answer, and I know you know it well. I am convinced these next words I am about to utter are absolutely mathematical certainty. I have visited more colleges than I am convinced any other person on the planet, and the admission teams with whom I speak say this one thing over and over again. The number one most important factor in admission decisions is a student's high school GPA. That grade point average is the most important thing. What they're really looking for when they look at your GPA is the answers to these questions. Did you challenge yourself? Did you work hard? Did you take a variety of courses? Did you show passion and aptitude in particular areas? If you say you want to be a pre-med student, but you didn't take more than the bare minimum of science courses, admission officers may be scratching their heads when they're considering your application. If you write about how you would like to pursue music, but you don't avail yourself of music offerings when you were in high school, they may wonder if you could even carry a tone, much less a full music major course load. If, on the other hand, you're an aspiring pre-med student and you take progressively more advanced science courses and you show that you're challenging yourself, pursuing depth as well as reasonable breadth, that you'll be very appealing to that admission team. So, what do they look at exactly when they look at your GPA? Here's what you need to know. Number one, they'll look to see whether your GPA is weighted or unweighted. An unweighted GPA does not take into account the difficulty level of your classes, with no extra weight given to extra challenging courses. But don't worry if your high school only reports GPAs that are unweighted. Colleges will look at the difficulty level of your classes, whether your GPA is weighted or unweighted. Now, a weighted GPA, as you probably guessed, does take into account the difficulty level of your courses by giving greater weight to your grades in accelerated courses. For instance, an A in an unweighted class might be worth 4 points. However, its honors counterpart might be worth 4.5 points. If it's an AP or IB, that's International Baccalaureate counterpart, that might be 5 points. The weighting scale may vary from one high school to another, and again, you shouldn't worry about variation in those scales. Your high school will report to colleges not only whether it weights students' GPA, but also the numerical scale that it uses. Regardless of whether your school reports weighted or unweighted GPAs, colleges will be looking for the same thing. Which classes did you take? How difficult were they? And of course, how well did you do? Now let's address a question that we get all the time. Is it better to get an A in an honors class or a B in an AP class? Typically, those are equivalent for your GPA if your high school uses weighted GPAs. But while they may be equivalent, they are not equal. They may add up to the same numerical values, but one shows a greater willingness to take on new challenges. In our experiences, especially when we're talking about a class that's in a field that you might want to pursue one day, it is always better to take the harder class. Now, some caveats. If you're worried that you might get a B and instead of an A in a difficult class, take the harder class. It's worth it to show colleges that you're intent on challenging yourself. But if, on the other hand, you think you might get a D or an F in a difficult level course, then you should not take it. This is obvious. You also want to show colleges that you are mature and self-aware about your strengths and that you're someone who won't bite off more than they can chew. Another caveat, you don't have to take all of the hardest classes in your high school. It is great to take at least one. And if you can, do that to show off your areas of particular strength. Ideally, you'll want to take a hard class or two in subjects that you're the most passionate about. But colleges neither want nor do they expect you to be good in everything that you do. What they want is to assemble a well-rounded first-year class. So they'll want to find aspiring artists and economists and physicists and historians and writers and educators and bring them all together. You don't have to be all of those things. They don't want you to be all of the things, nor do they expect it. They want to see that you have basic aptitude in your core subject areas and that you're willing and able to challenge yourself and that you're able to achieve success when you challenge yourself. That being an advanced course, that is success. Here are the other things that you'll want to keep in mind. You've got a lot of time to build a good GPA. Remember that one poor grade will not make or break your college chances. It's right there in the name, GPA, grade point average. It's an average. If you slip up, you'll have time to make up for it. You'll have an opportunity on your application to explain the circumstances if you need to, and you'll be able to show that you know how to get back on track. I'll say it again. Colleges don't need or want you to be perfect. They want you to be able to challenge yourself and to recover from failures and ultimately to thrive. Folks, thanks for watching. Next, we're going to turn to another topic that gives students anxiety, but shouldn't: standardized tests. Subscribe to our channel to get all of the latest updates about our best strategies for the SAT and the ACT, and certainly many more. And stay with us as we demystify each of them.